everybody.
And if you go see the USS Constitution, they'll tell you all the same stuff, but they won't tell you in that order.
Aye.
Now, you're all familiar with the term love, right?
No.
Oh, you're not?
It means no points in tennis.
Well, not in this context.
Yeah, there was no point to that joke either.
I can attest to that. Anyway, many people look at love as a wonderful thing, but love, mates, is blind. This next story I'm going to share with you is about a woman whose love of the sea took her over and consumed her in the end. Now, the woman in question, her name was Anna. Now, to many a sailor and even pirate captain, to bring a woman on board during a sea voyage, they say, is bad luck. Now, Anna knew all of this, but it didn't stop her from chasing what she so desired. She purchased a boy's sailor suit and cut her beautiful long black hair nice and short.
It's a shame, that.
Aye. And she herself commissioned to sail with a well-known pirate captain. Now, Anna, or Andrew as she went by, although it was difficult, managed to cover up her secret. And she even became the ship's cabin boy. All was going well, until one fateful evening. It was during a fierce storm with rain and hail, thunder and lightning, and waves pushing and splashing against the ship, that she was bringing the captain food to his cabin. Now, there she is, struggling to keep the tray afloat. There was some beef and some hot soup and a nice big mug of grog for the captain. She's struggling to keep this tray afloat, struggling, and she gets her way over to the captain's cabin. She makes her way inside, and a huge wave pushes against Anna and almost forces her to dump the entire tray of food all over the captain. But she manages to get a hold of the tray and pull it back and dump the tray all over herself, sacrificing herself to spare the captain the humiliation. Now, she did spare the captain the humiliation, but in doing so, the grog, the soup, and the waves forced her clothes to stick to her body. So the captain looks at Anna. Boy, what is the matter with you? The ship's doctor is called in, and he examines Anna. And within moments, the ship's doctor exposes the secret that Anna so desperately tried to cover up. Captain, he said in a panic, this cabin boy is no boy, this is a woman! And with hearing that, the captain scorns at Anna. As she runs out of his cabin, the captain gives the order, seize the cabin boy! Seize him! And all the crew grab hold of Anna and are holding her hostage. The captain addresses the crew. Men, the ship is cursed. This cabin boy is no boy. This is a woman. Throw her overboard. And they grab hold of her and she's struggling to get free. No, 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 she cries. And they pick her up and they send her overboard. As she slowly sinks down to the locker and drowns and dies. Now, it was said that Anna became known from that day forward as Anna, the handsome cabin boy. It's of a pretty female, as you may understand, her mind being bent for rambling unto a foreign land. She dressed herself in sailor's clothes, or so it would appear, and she hired with a captain to serve him for a year. Her cheeks, they were like roses, her hair done up in curls. The sailors often smiled and said, he looks just like a girl. But one night during a fierce great storm, her secret was destroyed, and the Dutchman was the fate for her, the handsome cabin boy. Aye. Now, shortly after sending Anna to the Dutchman, the sky and the storm suddenly ceased. The storm broke, and the sky was clear. The moon and the stars shone bright in the night sky. Now, the next 3 days brought good fortune to the captain and crew. They arrived at 3 different islands within those 3 days, and each island loaded with gold and jewels and riches and emeralds of all sorts. Now, upon parting on the eve of the 3rd island, the captain made a speech and addressed the crew. Men, I'm very proud of you all. Our good fortune is due to you acting quickly when sending our stowaway to the Dutchman. And with that, a huge celebration broke out with music, song, dance, and grog, and a merriment that lasted all evening. Now, the next day, they sailed onward, and at the course and speed that they were heading, in the direction of which they were heading, they should have been ported where they shipped out from by dusk. But dusk came, and nothing in the ocean looked familiar. No ports, no other ships, no docks, nothing. So they checked the maps and charts, and the compasses and the directions of the winds, and all was on course. But nothing in the ocean resembled anything that they recognized. So they had no choice but to sail onward, and onward, and onward. Days, weeks, months, they sailed. And many of the provisions, the food, the water, even the rum began running out. And many of the crew started getting edgy and were driven insane by the heat. But then one fateful evening, they all looked out and they saw what looked like fish leaping out of the water. And these little creatures started approaching the ship. But as they got closer and the men could make them out, they could see that these were not fish at all. Captain, one of the men shouted, there be mermaids in these waters. Yes, mermaids. Dozens swam over and surrounded their ship. And they looked right through each member of the crew with their sultry dance, their sweet song, and their incredible beauty. None could resist as they seduced each member of the crew, hypnotizing all. Hypnotizing all. suddenly, mates, the mermaids all swam away, and from the out of the ocean rose the ghostly figure of a woman, pale and white, and wearing a boy's sailor suit. "It's her!" one of the men shouted. "It's her, the ghost of the woman we sent to the Dutchman! It's her!" And they all looked up, and the ghostly figure floated down, looking with agony at each member of the crew, and focused gaze on the captain. And then suddenly, she passed right through him, and the captain dropped and was thrown into a fit of rage. "No! No! No!" And then they heard the sound of echoing laughter. "Doom and ghost you all!" And with that, the sky started clouding up, and then suddenly a storm broke out. Rain, thunder, lightning, hail, winds, the waves pushing and splashing against the ship. And the men tried to make their way to the lifeboats. Abandon ship! Abandon ship! And they ran for the lifeboats, but it was no use. The storm struck the lifeboats and ripped them to shreds, trapping the crew aboard the ship. "Doom and ghost you all!" they kept hearing echoing throughout the skies. And the storm was sent through the waves, and it suddenly began to be ripped apart by the thunder and lightning, and it ripped itself, and the crew were slowly sent down to the locker, and they all drowned and died right there. And then suddenly the storm ceased, and the waters were calm. And once again, the sky cleared up and the moon shone bright in the sky. Now let me tell you, mates, many a sailor and pirate still sail through those waters even today. But when they do, they often keep their eye out for mermaids. For they know that the mermaids do the bidding of the ghost of Anna, the handsome cabin boy. One night while all were lost at sea, not one known port in sight, mermaids came and approached the ship from the left and from the right. Using such charm and beauty, all were under their great spell, and all members of the ship and crew were dragged down where they fell. Raise your glasses one more time, mates. So, dear friends, drink your glass of grog, and I wish you all great joy. And here's hope you have a jolly lot more than the handsome cabin boy. And dear friends, drink your glass of grog, and I wish you all great joy. And here's hope you have a jolly lot more than the handsome cabin